I beg for your forgiveness, not because I'm afraid, but because regret has finally caught up with me. You look at me with anger, pressing me as if my life and death are in your hands. But listen to me, life and death were never yours to decide. They were never mine. God wrote my ending long before I ever learned what sin was. You know, it's funny how we chase things, like we're running a race that no one else is watching. I spent years sprinting, looking over my shoulder, thinking that if I just ran fast enough, I could outrun my own shadow. But shadows don't get tired. They just wait. I remember walking through the city at 3 a.m. The streets were empty. The only sound was the hum of the streetlights. And for the first time, I stopped. I just stopped. I looked up at the buildings, these monuments to ambition, and they looked so small. I realized that all my fighting, all my struggling, it was just noise. I was trying to scream over the silence of the universe. But the universe doesn't care if you scream. It only cares if you listen. So I started listening. I listened to the rain. I listened to my own breath. And slowly, the panic faded. It's a strange feeling, this surrender. It's not defeat. It's clarity. It's taking off a weight you never needed. I stopped fighting. I surrendered. Not because I'm weak, but because I'm tired. Tired of running from the truth. The truth finds me in sleep. It finds me in waking. And the truth is simple. I am not the hero. I never was. So take your judgment. It means nothing. I am done running.
My past is dark, heavy, unforgiving. There isn't a single corner of my life that's truly clean. I walk through this city and I see my own reflection in the puddles, distorted and broken. I tried to wash it away, but you can't wash away a stain that's on the inside. The owl tattoo on my arm tells the story before I ever speak. A symbol of the night, of wrong choices, of my greatest failures. I got it when I was 20, young, hungry, and stupid. I thought it meant wisdom. I thought it meant I could see in the dark. But it just meant I was a creature of the night, a predator. I hunted for status, for power. I stepped on anyone who got in my way. The ink is faded now, but the memories aren't. Every line on my skin is a debt I haven't paid. I chose ambition over conscience, money over prayer. I remember standing in a church once, not to pray, but to buy the land it stood on. I didn't care about the history. I didn't care about the souls. I just saw an asset. That's how far gone I was. And I got it. I got the money. I got the fear. I remember a woman once. She looked at me with love, and I looked at her with calculation. I wondered what she was worth, what she could do for my image. She saw the darkness in me before I did. She left without a word, just packed a bag and vanished. I didn't chase her. I told myself I didn't need anyone. But now, in this big, empty house, I hear her silence in every room. It echoes off the marble floors. It bounces off the crystal chandelier. It's a deafness that screams. Everything I own still left me empty. I was sitting in a room full of things I bought to impress people I didn't like. In the silence, it was louder than the shouting. But even in that darkness, I held on to one thought. Maybe it wasn't too late to repent, to scrub the ink from my soul, if not from my skin. My past is dark, heavy, unforgiving. There isn't a single corner of my life that's truly clean. The owl tattoo on my arm tells the story, a symbol of the night, of wrong choices. I got it when I was 20, young, hungry, and stupid. I thought it meant wisdom, but it just meant I was a predator. I hunted for status, for power. I stepped on anyone who got in my way. I chose ambition over conscience, money over prayer. I stood in a church once just to buy the land. I didn't care about the souls. I got the money. I got the fear. But fear is cold company. And one day, I realized everything I owned still left me empty. I was sitting in a room full of things I bought to impress people I didn't like. The silence was louder than the shouting. I was drowning. But when everyone else walked away, my wife stayed. I tried to push her away. I showed her the owl. I told her about the sins. I waited for her to run. I waited for the door to slam, but it never did. She knew my past. She knew my sins. Yet she chose to believe in the man I was trying to become. She saw a man drowning and she reached out a hand. One night she said to me, "I didn't marry your past. I married who you are today." Those words shattered me, more than any threat ever could. Our child slept peacefully in her arms, innocent, untouched by my mistakes. I looked at him, a clean slate, a new story. He didn't know the predator. He only knew the father. And I swore then I would burn the predator to ash to keep him warm. And in that moment, I realized something terrifyingly beautiful. Love is the most honest form of a second chance. I look at my hands again. The ink is still there. The scars are still there. But they don't define me anymore. They are just maps of where I've been. I will build a new house, not of stone and marble, but of patience, of kindness. It will be a fortress for them. And maybe, one day, the owl on my arm will just be a bird, just a picture, no longer a judge. I will walk in the light, for them, always. I am finally home. The past has finally arrived at my door. I can hear the sirens in the distance. They are singing my name. I ran for 20 years. I ran through the money, the power, the empty rooms. But you cannot outrun your own shadow forever. The owl on my arm, it's not a predator anymore. It's a witness. It has seen everything I did, everything I broke. But they haven't seen it. My wife, who stitches my wounds with patience. My son, who looks at me like I hung the moon. I have one thing to ask before I go, before the walls come down. My wife and my child are innocent. Please don't involve them. They are the light that slipped through the cracks of my darkness. Let me carry the weight of my sins alone. It is my debt, my ink, my scar. Don't let my shadow fall on them. If punishment must come, let it come to me. I will pay every cent. I will bleed every drop. Not to a love that only knows how to stay faithful. She didn't marry the monster. She married the man who tried to hide him. Only God knows how sincere my heart is. I am not asking for freedom. I am asking for their peace. I stand here in the dark, and I play the movie of our life backwards. I see the day he took his first steps. I see the day we brought him home. I wish I could live in those moments forever. But time is a river, and you can't swim upstream. I can only build a dam to keep them safe. I wrote a letter. It's on the kitchen table. It says everything I was too coward to say out loud. It says I love you. It says I'm sorry. I hope she burns it. I hope she forgets. But I know she won't. That's her curse. To love a broken thing. I can hear the footsteps on the porch. It's time. I will not fight. I will not run. Let them wake up to a morning where I am just a memory. I walk towards the door. Every step is heavy. Every step is a choice. I touch the frame. I leave my fingerprints here one last time. Not as a stain, but as a shield. And my prayer is simple, not for me, but for them. May I be forgiven, not by the law, but by the love I leave behind. Silence, goodbye. My past is dark, heavy, unforgiving. There isn't a single corner of my life that's truly clean. The owl tattoo on my arm tells the story, a symbol of the night, of wrong choices. I got it when I was 20, young, hungry, and stupid. I thought it meant wisdom, but it just meant I was a predator. I hunted for status, for power. I stepped on anyone who got in my way. I chose ambition over conscience, money over prayer. I stood in a church once just to buy the land. I didn't care about the souls. I got the money. I got the fear. But fear is cold company. And one day, I realized everything I owned still left me empty. I was sitting in a room full of things I bought to impress people I didn't like. The silence was louder than the shouting. I was drowning. But when everyone else walked away, my wife stayed. I tried to push her away. I showed her the owl. I told her about the sins. I waited for her to run. I waited for the door to slam, but it never did. She knew my past. She knew my sins. Our child slept peacefully in her arms, innocent, untouched by my mistakes. I looked at him, a clean slate, a new story, and that is why I stopped running. Not because I was caught by the law, but because I was caught by grace. I lift my eyes, not toward man, but toward God. I surrender everything to the truth. No more hiding in the shadows. I walk through the forest. The trees are older than my sins. They don't judge. They just grow. I listen to the wind. It whispers that forgiveness isn't something you earn. It's something you accept. I spent my whole life trying to buy my way into heaven. But heaven is free. It's here, in the quiet, in the letting go. Maybe this is fate. The fate of a man who took too much. My pride, my fear, my name, I lay them down. I am naked before the infinite. But if today is my end, let me leave as a repentant husband, a regretful father, and a man who finally understood love. Only God knows the sincerity of this heart. It is not perfect, but it is open, finally open. May I be forgiven. Peace.